Hi, my name is Anna Albazuras, and I'm I'm a program specialist at C.A.R.E.
Hi, my name is Jamila Rahim, and I am the founder and director of programs at C.A.R.E. So today we are going to talk about fine motor skills, what they are, how we use them, and some activities we can do to assist in developing these skills. So during our last programming, we talked about the 7 different functional skills that we work on at C.A.R.E. One of those skill groups is fine motor skills. So our fine motor skills are actually the coordination of small muscles and movements, usually involving the coordination of hands and fingers with the eyes. This involves such actions as picking up objects between the thumb and the finger, writing, lacing, etc. Basic fine motor skills gradually develop and are typically mastered between the ages of 6 and 12. These skills will keep developing with age, practice, and increased use of these small muscles. So now we're going to talk about different developmental stages using fine motor skills. The first developmental stage is infancy. So throughout developmental stages of a child's life, fine motor skills gradually develop. Infants begin with involuntary reflexes and then will use their fingers to touch. At about 5 months, they will begin to develop eye and hand coordination and actually begin to grab for things. At about 6 months, they will begin to pick up objects and transfer them from one hand to the other. At about 7 months, they will have an increased grip and be able to point with their index finger, as well as use what we call the pincer grip. And the pincer grip is your index finger and your thumb making this motion. So they will use the pincer grip to pick up tiny objects. So by the time a child is about 1 year old, their fine motor skills have developed to actually allow them to manipulate different objects. So the next developmental stage that we're going to talk about is toddlerhood. As children manipulate objects, they actually gain experience identifying objects based on their size, shape, and weight. So by engaging in hands-on play, the child learns that some objects are heavier than others, some are lighter than others, some actually require more force to move than others. Some items will slip through the fingers, and that some objects actually come apart and can be put back together again. This type of play is not only for the development of the child's fine motor skills, but for also learning how the world works. So during this stage, you will see your toddler show dominance of a preferred hand, whether that be his left hand or his right hand. The next developmental stage that we're going to discuss is the preschool stage. So at this time, the child is capable of grasping objects using what we call a tripod grasp. The tripod grasp is your index finger, your middle finger, and your thumb making this motion. At this point, the child should be able to cut shapes, draw, and trace over vertical lines with crayons. They should also be able to button their clothes and pick up objects. At this stage, there is actually a preferred hand dominance over the majority of their activities. Fine motor skills during this stage help with actually understanding science and reading. Our last developmental stage that we're going to talk about is the school age. So during the ages between 5 and 7, fine motor skills have been developed to a much higher degree. Children should be able to cut more precisely with scissors. They should be able to write more precisely on the lines and print letters and numbers with greater clarity. This is also where the child begins to learn to tie their shoes. So what can actually affect the development of fine motor skills? So there are certain things that can delay or impair fine motor skills, such as illnesses, stroke, or developmental disabilities. And an infant or child up to age 5 that is not developing their fine motor skills, they will show signs of difficulty controlling, coordinating body movements with their hands, fingers, and face. In young children, the delay in the ability to sit up or walk can actually be an early sign of fine motor skill delay. Children also may show signs of difficulty with tasks such as cutting with scissors, drawing lines, folding clothes, holding a pencil, writing, zipping, and unzipping. These are all tasks that use fine motor skills. And if a child has difficulty with these skills, they might actually have poor eye and hand coordination and could actually need therapy to improve these skills. So now we're going to talk about how C.A.R.E. addresses this skill deficit. So C.A.R.E. addresses this skill deficit by providing group and individual skill building activities. So what we do is first we assess your child's fine motor development. We determine during that assessment if they are at the school age, preschool, toddler, or infant stage. We actually then begin working on activities at the current level that they are at. So right now it looks like we have a caller. Caller, go ahead.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, can you explain what a fine motor skill is? I heard you mention that a moment ago, but I'm not really sure like what that involves.
Sure. So fine motor skills are the use of small muscles. Typically they are small muscles in the hands and fingers, but they can also be small muscles with the feet and toes. So when a kid has delays with fine motor skills, they have difficulty doing actual tasks and activities with their fingers. So now we'll go back to talking about the different stages and how we assess a child. So once we've determined where that child is at with their fine motor skills, whether they're in the preschool stage or toddler stage or infancy stage, we then begin working at the current stage that they are at. We want to strengthen those skills and then ease our way into that next stage. So what we do when we ease our way into that next stage is that we use what we call a prompting hierarchy. And a prompting hierarchy is least to most prompting. So we want to give a child as much support as they need, but as little as possible. So how that works is we would start with maybe a verbal prompt. So if we're cutting, we may tell the child, okay, put your index finger in the first hole and put your thumb in the second hole. If that doesn't work, we then move to an actual gesture. So we will point to the actual hole. This is where your finger goes in this hole. This is where your thumb goes in this hole. If that doesn't work, what we do is we move into actually modeling. So we would actually take the scissors, cut ourselves, and show them this is actually how you cut. If modeling doesn't work, we then move into a partial physical prompt. So we may actually take the child's fingers and place them correctly inside of the scissors for them to cut. If this does not work, then we actually move into what we call a full physical prompt. And a full physical prompt is actually hand over hand. We're doing it with them. Again, that's where we use as much prompting as needed, but as little as possible. So one of the questions that we often get is, my child is not where they should be with their fine motor skills. Does my child have a developmental disability? The answer to that is maybe, maybe not. And basically not necessarily. So sometimes kids actually take time to get to that stage and maybe don't move as fast as others. Some kids actually exceed where they should be and move to the next stage. So we suggest that if you have serious concerns that you talk with your child's pediatrician. So now we're going to go into some actual activities that we do at CARE at each developmental stage. And first we're going to start off with our infancy stage. So we're going to have Anna, our program specialist, show you some different activities that we do at CARE.
Although we do not work with infants, we do have some children who are not at this stage with their fine motor skills. So for these kids, we may do an activity with stacking blocks. These are nesting blocks by Melissa and Doug. Not only do they teach spatial recognition and fine motor skills, but they also have animals and alphabets on the sides of them. So the children will start stacking them up, and you could work on your alphabets, M, N, O, and then continue on with the P, Q, R, S. Like I said, they have animals on the sides where you could say M, mouse. You can also work on colors, blue, brown as well. You could also work on smallest to largest. And you could do backwards, largest to smallest, smallest to largest. That is something that you can also make at home with some cardboard boxes. You can include your child and have them decorated using markers, paints, crayons, even stickers. And you can even put textures into it using pom-poms, using different materials to glue on the sides of the cardboard. Another activity that we like to use is pom-pom drop, where we will have different colored pom-poms. We will provide, you can use ice cube trays, you can use cups, you can use bowls, you can use anything that you have handy at home, and the fluffy pom-poms. This activity helps develop the pincer grip and hand dexterity. Your child can also explore shapes and colors. You could do purple and ask your child to repeat purple, purple, purple. Not only are you teaching colors, but you're also sorting. And you could do blue, blue, blue. You could do different sizes as well, small, large. Your child will also explore, like I said, the shapes, sizes, and sorting. And for kids with more developed fine motor skills, you can have them use tweezers or tongs to transfer these pom-poms, and they will use the pincer grip with this activity using their index finger and their thumb. And again, you could do sorting by color, or you could do sorting by size. Next, for the toddler, we do puzzles. You could do chunky puzzles, or you could do smaller piece puzzles. I prefer the chunkier puzzles. These for the toddler should be larger in size. Again, in addition to fine motor skills, this teaches spatial recognition, and it teaches matching. Oftentimes puzzles have the pictures to match the puzzle piece. So you can have your child, the first time, depending on how the fine motor skills are, you can model and show your child, ask your child to point to the dog. Where's the dog? Which one matches? Can you point to the dog? They could point to the dog. You can model, put the dog into the piece where it belongs, and you can also add, what does the dog say? What's the sound that the dog makes? And if your child doesn't know, you can always say woof, and then ask your child to repeat. The next one is the cat. Again, Ask your child to point to the cat. Can you show me the cat? Can you match which one matches? And you can always use hand over hand with the next one. And your child will put it in. Again, what sound does the cat make? Meow. Ask your child to repeat it. The third one you could try and have your child do independently. Which one matches? Which one is the bird? Which one is yellow? You can always work on colors as well. And have your child put the puzzle piece into the matching spot. Ask your child, what sound does the bird make? Tweet, tweet is what the bird sound would be. As your child gets older, you can also use smaller pieces. You can also use puzzles that do not have the matching color or piece inside of it. That was a good sign that your child has improved in their fine motor skills. Another activity that we like to use for the toddler stage is we like to make beaded spaghetti. So we get Play-Doh, and we can always ask a child to roll it up into a ball or make a square, play around with it, work with it as to make different shapes until you find the shape that works well with you. You get pieces of uncooked spaghetti, break them, and ask your child to put them into the Play-Doh. Break them into different sizes so you will have a different view of things here. Then with this, you will get some beads, and your child will place the beads in the spaghetti like so. And they could be colorful beads. You could always make beads by sorting them into different colors. Like this, we have stars, we have oval ones. They could sort them into the shapes. There are also beads that have letters, so you could work on spelling as well. With this, the children practice using their pincer grip that we talked about earlier with the thumb and the index finger, and just drop the beads into the spaghetti. Like I said, they can color match they can also color match the colors of the beads with the color of the Play-Doh if it's something that your child would like to do. This is the stage when the child you will begin to notice that they are using one hand more than the other hand. Our next stage is the preschool stage. Now, with this, we use beading with pipe cleaners. The difference with beading with spaghetti and in the toddler stage and beading with pipe cleaners in the preschool age is that with the spaghetti, you are simply dropping the beads on the spaghetti without using any strength. When you are beading using the pipe cleaners, you actually need to use the pincer grasp and push the beads down. So I'm using the pincer grasp and pushing it down with my other hand, like so. And this is something that the kids in our program really enjoy doing. Parents are happy when they actually are able to push that bead down with their other hand. Coloring is another activity for the preschool age. There are various coloring activities that your child can do in this stage. Remember that this is the stage where children learn to use the tripod grip, index finger, middle finger, and thumb. There are coloring books that already have edges raised that will assist in teaching color boundaries. But I like also using glue. You could use Elmer's glue to border the lines where you want your child to color. These right here are triangular crayons by Crayola that help with the tripod grip. During this stage, your child typically has a hand preference. Finally, there are various activities for school-age children. Going back to beading again, beads are they're great because one, they're inexpensive, and they're so flexible. You can do so many things with them. And school-age children like to make necklaces and bracelets. They like to make them with their names or friend's name or mom's name. So for the school-age children, we use laces. Like I said, we like making names. And what makes this stage more advanced than the previous beading exercises is that you would be using a string. It is more difficult to get beads on a string versus something thicker like a pipe cleaner or something sturdier like a uncooked spaghetti. Here you need more eye-hand coordination and steadier hands. Another activity that we like to use with the school-age children is the shoe tying. So we place the shoe as if the child is seeing it from above, bending down or putting it on a chair. And we ask the child to make an X and loop it under and say, let's play tug of war. So they're playing tug of war. We ask them to use their index finger to hold onto it, make a loop with their pincer grip, go around and under with their thumb and pull. Mine is a little backwards here. But we ask them to do this. The first time we do it, they might look at us and watch us do this. The next time it will be hand over hand until they could go ahead and do it independently, which is our goal. Now, I know that there are more activities that we have for our infants. We use burst pops. They're bigger pieces that they can go ahead and use and try to click together. They can click them together, unclick them. Again, there are various colors, there are various shapes that they can go ahead and do. Because they're toddlers, of course, they are going to use their hands to do that. For the toddlers, we have lacing by Doug and Melissa. And they will get different, you could again do it by shapes, do it by colors, and they will string using pincer grip, string and pull bigger blocks instead of using the smaller beads. For our preschool, we have a basic skills board. Now, this is one of my favorites. It will show the children how to lace, how to button, how to zipper, how to click this button here and do this right here. I will show you these individually. So the child will learn how to use their index and their thumb to click and open this button. They will be able to use their fingers to maneuver to opening and closing this type of button. They have the zipper. Every kid needs to learn how to unzip and zip, and this is very helpful in trying to do that. Many backpacks now have this here as well.
Well, it looks like that's all the time we have for today. Please join us next week on CAN TV Channel 21 at 7:30. Please visit our website for more information, www.spectrumtoystore.com. Thank you. Good night.